Hey, what's up, everyone? I want to welcome you guys to another episode of Here's What I Think with your host, Charles Sabansi, where we discuss everything from current events, economics, politics, and how it all relates to business and life. And today we have a hell of a show for you guys where we're going to be giving you guys our official prediction. But before we get into it, please make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel. Well, folks, today's the day. Today is election day. And I think a lot of us are excited to finally begin the process of figuring out who's going to be the next president of the United States after this absolutely crazy election campaign between Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Donald Trump. We've heard everyone give their opinion on it. And I said to myself, I said, okay, well, now that it's election day, why not give your prediction on who you think is going to win this particular election here. I already know that no matter who I say, I'm going to piss people off. I could say Trump is going to win the election and I'm going to piss off a gang of people. If I say Kamala is going to win the election, a bunch of people are going to be in the corner hollering and screaming. So I'm just going to say what I think is going to happen and let the chips fall where they may. So looking at the political landscape now, based off of all the information that I have at this current moment, my prediction for who's going to win the 2024 U.S. presidential election is Kamala Harris. And I want to give you guys the reason why before you start hitting the unlike button on the video. Let me just break down some of the reasons why I think this is going to be the case. I have a few reasons. The first reason I think Kamala will win this election is because of some of this polling data that we've been seeing over the last few months. I believe that there's a serious overcorrection that is taking place with these polling companies that are releasing data in terms of where they think these candidates are. And I think a lot of it is rooted in what took place in 2016. In 2016, a lot of the polls underestimated Donald Trump. And I think that what we're seeing today, some of these pollsters are overestimating his impact on voters in terms of where he's polling in these various states because they don't want to look like idiots if they show him losing in a lot of these states and he somehow miraculously wins. And that's the reason why you're seeing a lot of these states showing it's neck and neck, it's tie, or it's very, very close, especially in the battleground states. So I think there may be an overestimation there. That's one thing. The second thing is this, and this has to do with numbers. Kamala Harris is winning over a lot of women. Beyond the fact that maybe there's a possibility of women voting for other women, there's always that, just like there's a possibility of men always voting for men. But I think the reason why you see a lot more women voting for her is because of this abortion issue. I think that it's an issue where she struck a chord with a lot of female voters, and a lot of them are leaning in her direction for that particular reason, because she's pro women having the right to decide what they want to do with their bodies. I think that is resonating with a lot of female voters. So that's the second reason. The third reason is this, and I think it has a double-edged effect here. I've been seeing a lot of Republicans deciding to support Kamala Harris. And it's not so much them endorsing what she stands for. It's a lot of them standing up against the things that Donald Trump believes. Because I think there are a good amount of Republicans that do not like what the Republican Party has turned into. I think there are a good amount of Republicans. And they're voting for Kamala because they don't want their party to turn into the party of MAGA, so to speak. And there are a lot of channels. There's a channel that I came across just last night. I kid you not. Let me see if I can actually pull up the name of it. I was stunned that Republicans actually created a channel just to oppose Donald Trump. And I'm trying to see if I can actually find the channel. It was something that I stumbled upon. The channel is called Republican Voters Against Donald Trump. That's the name of the channel. Republican Voters Against Donald Trump. And the video I saw was, if you're on the fence, watch this. The channel has hundreds of thousands of subscribers, right? So I believe that there are a coalition of Republicans that are against Trump, and some of them are switching sides. But also it's important to mention that there are a lot of people that used to vote Democratic that are now voting for Donald Trump, especially black men. And we can do an entirely different video on why we think that is. We have that there. And then finally, the final reason why I think Kamala Harris is going to win this election is because of some of the last minute mistakes that Donald Trump and his campaign have made in the closing weeks of the campaign, especially in the final weeks. Of course, you have what happened in Madison Square Garden with that rally, with that comedian making the jokes about Hispanics. That turned off a lot of people. Not all Hispanic voters, because some are still going to go out there and support Donald Trump, but it turned off a good amount of them. And if you look at the battleground state of Pennsylvania, where I think they constitute about 400,000 to 500,000 in terms of their population, that could also play a role in Trump losing that state. So those are my 4 reasons. So what I want to do now is I actually want to get into the electoral map and then actually break down the states that I think are going to go to either candidate and ultimately what the final electoral vote score is going to be. So let's get into that now. All right, so let's look at the electoral map here, and I'm just going to look at what CNN has. So if we put it up for you guys now, let me just reset it here. So you can look at it here, and you can see currently where things stand. You have Donald Trump and Kamala Harris. It says Donald Trump is a 219, Kamala Harris is a 226, and obviously we have the battleground states. So here are the states that I have Trump winning. I have Donald Trump winning the state of Georgia, and if he wins the state of Georgia, that would put him at 235, 226, advantage Trump. Then I have him also winning Arizona, where he's currently leading in the polls with a 2-point lead. So that will put him at 246, 226 advantage Trump. Then we have North Carolina, where I have Donald Trump winning that state as well. That will put him at 262 over Kamala Harris, 226 advantage Trump. I have Kamala winning Michigan right now, and that would give her 241 to Trump's 262. I also have her winning Wisconsin. That would give her 251 to Trump's 262. I have her winning Nevada. That would put her at 257 to Trump's 262. And I have her winning Pennsylvania, which would then put her over the top at 276. So my score is going to be 276 Kamala Harris to Trump 262. Now, some of you are like, well, how do you know she's going to win Pennsylvania? How do you know she's going to win in Pennsylvania? Well, I just recently actually came from 538.com, a polling website, and it has them currently tied in Pennsylvania. But the reason I believe that ultimately she's going to come out victorious in Pennsylvania, even though right now she's leading 47.9 to 47.7, I believe is going to have to do with the Hispanic vote. I think some of them are going to sway in the direction of Kamala Harris, and ultimately I think she's going to carry the state. And what I think election night is going to look like is the following. When the votes start coming in initially, I think is going to show Donald Trump leading in a lot of these districts and states, because Republicans tend to vote more on election day. But once they start counting all of the votes that people mailed in, sent in, and all of that, I think the vote would then start to sway in the direction of Kamala Harris. But of course, I could be wrong. And Donald Trump could probably win this election. I guess we just have to wait and see. These are just my predictions. So whatever you guys think, please leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section, and we'll catch you guys on the next show.